really isn't much you can do until they get
No.
an answer.
So
But you've got to get the other stuff written up.
a few things seem to have changed, or maybe I misunderstood, or however that worked out, but there was talk about when this informational meeting has to happen.
January is what's recommended by Andrew.
Okay.
And we can just email her when you guys decide when to have it in January.
So it wasn't before the application was filed,
Correct.
but it has to be before the grant is given, before they make a decision, or does it have, is it?
Andrea just told me it doesn't have to happen before the grant was submitted, but she highly recommends and strongly opinionated that it should happen in January.
And there has to be a little notice in the newspaper 10 days before this meeting that it's going to happen.
Because they get a copy of the newspaper and the pager was fine and the write-up. Because they're, government and they want newspaper. Because I'm like, well, we have Facebook and we post, in the the post office and we post it at the town office. No, it has to be the newspaper because we still need to do the print. It's like,
Welcome to 2023.
So
and she actually made a little joke, said, yeah, we're still in the Stone Age.
Yeah.
Valley News.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, who gets it anymore?
Right, you can get it on.
But it's little.
No, you just
what
have to do
page
it
it's
because the
on?
government said
You
not,
can't
because
get
it's
paper
actually
copy.
a useful tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, well, we do it on also Facebook, we have a page and website. Yeah, maybe we'll get there someday. That's it. Okay.
Would the second meeting in January be a problem? I'm only thinking of all the things we've got to do
Mhm.
and trying to get, at holidays, trying to get something in the paper in time.
Yeah, she said anytime in January. It could be during a select board member. You don't need a special meeting. No different than we had our hearing
Great.
today. If you guys are loaded, we could do a separate, she's very flexible and it just needs to be the 10 days.
I just feel like the second meeting in January would give
Oh,
us, we'd be sure
The
that we're
first
not
one's way
butting up
too
against too
soon.
many
Yeah.
holidays to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
So, is that all right?
That's fine, I think the first meeting is gonna be kinda full.
Yeah. Okay. Second meeting in January, we'll do the informational, we'll have Sarah get a ad in the paper.
Do you know what it
I know
has
you
to
sent
say?
me some, wait.
Yeah, which was,
Yep, yep.
which was on their website.
Where does it go? Cost
For-
guides?
Yeah, I'm just wondering about specific wording.
Yeah, for Jenny, there's ultimately, it says a public information meeting.
Yep.
On their website, it actually explains on the USDA website what's entailed, because Cindy had questions about that as well. And I forwarded that along to her.
Just like,
It's just saying, hey, we're going for a grant for the USDA, is there public comment? It's a grant, so nothing to pay back.
good.
Our town qualifies for that. We could also go after the loan as well. There's a little bit more work for that, but we qualify for the grant. I asked.
Why
just in
pay
case.
interest, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Well, it was, she said it was a pretty, I don't remember the number, but it was pretty low interest rate.
Well, sure, because nothing's paying interest either, so why,
Right,
yeah.
right.
So everything in this pile is everything that got submitted?
Along with the audits. I did not print out all
Yeah,
of the
no,
audits.
yeah, no, that's fine.
And the two sheets, because I must still have them at my house, that I had to thing. One was, they were both from Autotronics. It was about, what they were gonna get.
Oh, yeah,
That thing.
yep, yep.
And the
But it's all the
pri-
stuff you guys already
and the
have.
price list,
Yeah,
so you've already
yeah.
got that. That was
Everything
the
was
only
separate
other
from when
things, yeah.
Kyle was out. the
Yep, and then
little
also
info.
sent the RFPs, all 4 RFPs, which you guys also had copies of
Yep.
those.
I mean, that, one of the reasons when I asked Dottie, it wouldn't go and everything else has been going, she said that perhaps it was because I tried to put it all into one email and it was too big.
Sure.
And maybe I should send one thing each and numerous emails to you, or is this, you want it on the?
So a lot of this, can I see that real quick? A lot of this just flipping through it quickly. I haven't sat down and read it, but a lot of it is, like you said, it's stuff we do already have.
Yeah, all of it.
And it
My
was
biggest
the-
concern was like the narrative
Didn't do it.
and these, the stuff you were just looking at, the
The
fill in
Sam?
the blank stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
That should be changed if we could.
But if that's, if that's something that just got pulled off sam.gov, if an email goes there, even if it says Dear Sue, Sarah can reply and
Pictures
say,
of the
hi, I'm
ambulances,
Sarah,
all that stuff
I
in that
replaced
pile
Sue.
too, or is that separate?
That was I gave them all the RFPs, so.
Okay,
The application for federal assistance and the narrative was the big things that I was like, yeah, I'd kinda like to take a look at that. Like, all this operating budget and stuff, all that, I know that Sue pulled that out and
mhm.
Yep, and you can see her signature.
Yep.
We met multiple
So-
times.
if you've got that separately that you could send,
Okay, I'll put each thing on an email and send it to you,
Yeah.
maybe it'll go that way.
yeah, like, none of us need all that. And I know we already have all this ambulance stuff,
Yeah.
the bids and the specs on the ambulance, we already have all that. And I don't need
Yep, the
another
only
stack
thing
of
that
paper.
would be that you didn't have access was, sam.gov, but
Yeah,
Sue accesses that.
yeah,
And then the narrative, which I was gonna have you and Kathy approve once completed.
yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't understand that in your email, I didn't understand that's what you were looking to do. Yeah. Well, I don't know, yeah, so one of us will have to get a hold of. We'll probably meet the town attorney or the DRA and find out about wording that warrant article and what we can do, if anything, about is it 90,000, is it 50,000?
Yeah,
We might have to do it as two separate ones no.
because it's
Because it
also,
wouldn't be a matter of if one fails, the other one would still be an unknown until
Mhm.
it's
they
also
make their decision.
important to know, even though we're doing the 9270, we could get 65.
Right, absolutely,
That's what
yeah.
I mean.
So I'm sure DRA and, the attorneys probably have done USDA grants for other towns. Maybe even USDA, you reach out to them and maybe they'll understand how to do a warrant, somebody down there. But the state pool, nobody was applying to it, so that's why Andrew's like, yeah, you guys wanna do this, send us what you got, and we'll
And if we could
work
get
through it.
92, that would be awesome, because that would leave us money in the revolving account to be able to get a new cardiac monitor that we desperately need.
How old is our current monitor?
13, 14 years old, and they have new models now, and like cars, they're not interchangeable spare parts, so when we have a problem, we can't get parts for them.
Yeah.
Because they don't fit.
Yeah.
Because the last part I got was the wrong connection.
Yeah, I mean,
What was that new monitor, the cost? I'm sorry.
They're about 30, aren't they?
30, 40,
Yeah, 30 to 40 is what most of the different brands are.
life pack.
And that's
the
not
one-
something the auxiliary would do? I don't know, just
I
asking.
don't know what they have for funds and what they
And
can and can't do.
Problem is that's like asking the auxiliary to buy bunker gear.
I mean, they helped when we got that one.
Can we sell a hose washer?
Yeah, right?
I don't think you'll get that much. You'll probably get like maybe 300.
All right,
Fine.
okey-doke. We good?
We're good.
All right, thank
Okay,
you.
Thank
so
you.
next time you have to do something quickly, just shoot an email and say, I did all this and
Okay.
we'll talk about it next meeting.
Sounds good.
All right, warrant article follow-up. I thought you were going for the cookies.
Try not to.
Have you thought of any more warrant articles you'd like to throw on? We did this with Tom last year and then he ended up with COVID. And like a week later, he's like, did we put on? No, we didn't, sorry. So try to get the ball rolling a little earlier. One that I realized we forgot to do last week was, if you want to, we had last year to see if the town will vote to change the police chief's position to an appointed position. And that failed. So I remembered that that didn't pass, and I wondered if you wanted to give it another go next year or this year.
Yeah.
Might be a good idea.
Okay.
Can I chime in?
Sure.
It's a great idea now.
It's a great idea now?
Yes.
No.
So before, I didn't know whether or not, I didn't support it because I didn't know whether or not I was gonna have to retire.
Yeah,
Now that I know that I had to retire, this is the best avenue for the town, in my opinion.
thank you.
Can you write that into the thing, which
Right.
Russell recommends?
Right, select board recommends, budget committee recommends, Russell recommends, yeah.
Wasn't the same thing said about the town agent?
What town agent?
Move it from, to unappointed?
Road agent?
Yeah.
Yes, and that passed.
So I'll entertain a motion to, put this warrant article on.
I'll make a motion to put on the appointed police warrant article.
Thank you.
Second.
And I agree. Thank you. And I think we're down to correspondence. First up is a letter from the State of New Hampshire Board of Tax and Land Appeals regarding Millbrook Christian Fellowship versus the town of Grafton. It's an order that responds to the town's, good night, Russell. Merry Christmas.
Good night, Merry Christmas to all you guys.
Thanks.
Me too.
This order responds to the town's motion to dismiss filed on November 10th and the taxpayer's objection to the motion filed on November 14th. After review of these pleadings and the contents of the appeal, the motion is denied without prejudice. This matter will proceed to a hearing on March 14th, 2023. This was the Millbrook Church. We denied them
Tax agency.
Their exemption.
on just the
Person.
parsonage, or, well,
The caretaker.
caretaker cottage, the one that the Warners live in, so that's what that is. We have a letter from Bridge House that serves veterans through hospice care. And it's basically a request for us to
Money,
include.
it's over in Plymouth, right?
Yep. 260 Highland Street, Plymouth, yeah, so that's what that is. If anybody wants to read it in its entirety, you're welcome to. We have a approval for operation of a septic system at 1409 North Main Street. Usually there's a map and lot number and I'm not finding it. Anyway, that's what that is, somebody's getting a septic there. There's a letter here from Deb Clough regarding her concerns for our public hearing for the town hall usage fees, which is a moot point at this point. A letter from ISO addressed to Mr. McGinty regarding the ISO survey they did on the fire station, and I'll give this to you so you can share it with him. Their rating system, I believe, is a 10-point system, and we got a 8B out of 10. So, sounds pretty good. Considering the state of things around here, we'll take it.
That's the inspection that they went through.
Yeah. This is a letter from DES that is addressed to a Mr. John Thompson on 435 Kinsman Road, and we are copied regarding an illegal burn. Want to hear it? Leaf's looking like he does. Yeah, 435 Kinsman Road, burning of non-conforming materials. On November 28th, 2022, the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services Air Resources Division received a complaint regarding the burning of non-conforming materials located at 435 Kinsman Road, Grafton, New Hampshire. According to the Grafton Assessing Office, you are the property owner and therefore the responsible party in this matter. On November 26, 2022, Grafton Fire Department along with Keenan Fire Department Mutual Aid responded to a report of an illegal fire on Kinsman Road. Grafton Fire Department personnel described extinguishing a fire which was built around a large stump with logs more than 5 inches in diameter. Among other items in the fire were an RV refrigerator, RV water heater, various plastics, glass, metal, and other non-conforming materials. On November 30th, 2022, New Hampshire DES visited the property and confirmed Grafton Fire Department's findings. In addition, they noted 3 to 4 additional burn piles that contain partially burned non-conforming materials. Please be advised that New Hampshire Code of Administrative Rules, ENVA 1000, Prevention, Abatement, and Control of Open Source Air Pollution, prohibits burning for the purpose of salvage or reclaim, as well as the burning of domestic waste and other non-conforming materials. As a New Hampshire resident, you are reminded of your responsibility to comply with the rules pertaining to air pollution. In the event that NHDS receives additional complaints in the future, NHDS may initiate formal action against you, including proposing administrative fines and or referring the matter to the Department of Justice. Enclosed is a fact sheet and a copy of this rule. As the property owner, taking action to eliminate burning of non-conforming materials is an important step in protecting public health and the environment. If you have questions, would like to discuss this further, there's contact information. It sounds a lot like the letter they sent to Artie Edmondson.
Mhm.
We found you did this thing wrong, and if you keep it up, we just might send you a more strongly worded letter.
I can't believe there wasn't oil and stuff in that pile,
Yeah,
and car parts,
yeah.
really.
Well, the oil probably burnt off before they put it out.
Letter from New Hampshire Department of Transportation, Grafton Special One-Time Bridge Payment. In accordance with Senate Bill 401, payment for maintenance, construction, and reconstruction of municipally owned bridges. The following is notification of a one-time bridge payment being made available to your municipality in state fiscal year 2023, based on the passage of Senate Bill 401, effective July 2022. SB 401 directs the department to divide and distribute 36 million one-time payments between $36 million. Let me back up, sorry, it's getting late. A $36 million one-time payment between all New Hampshire municipalities that have municipally owned bridges per state definitions. And it goes on to rattle off how they figured this all out, and I'll get to the bottom line, which is in December of 2022, we should receive a payment of $103,933.82.
So,
You gotta pay for that bridge.
There you go.
you can use that for any bridge?
Yep.
Oh,
You're thinking about that culvert we just talked about, or something
I
else?
was thinking. Why not?
With no matching funds. That's incredible.
Yeah,
That is incredible.
yeah. Instead of going for that grant?
Well,
Now we'll get the grant, fix another bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, after what we saw, yeah, there's plenty more
If we
bridges to
can-
do.
If we can get the, oh yeah, there's a lot of red line bridges.
Well, there used to be, but
Oh,
now
now
they've
they
changed the
can't.
definition, yeah, right, yeah.
Jesus. I'd like to hit him in the head with a hammer.
It's different, or talk about the one in Slab City.
The next is, what?
Yeah,
Yeah, there's plenty.
oh yeah, that bridge.
Got a hole that big now, dirt's going somewhere, I don't know where it's going, but it's going somewhere.
Next is a letter from Drummond Woodsum that, guess what, they're raising their rates again next year, surprise, surprise. Everybody that we deal with is now, effective January 1st, $230 an hour. This is a letter from the road agent, think I should read that or not?
I don't know, cause I don't know
You're
what it's
right.
about.
I already said it, right?
You already said
Yeah, it's a letter from the road agent saying, this is dated yesterday at 6:47 a.m. I'm emailing to let you know Joe's all done. I walked in this morning 5:15 to his keys and uniform on the table. So much for his resignation letter and working on his damn notice. Tried to call him all day yesterday for help and he wouldn't answer my calls. And then we have this. This was in the payment folder, I asked Sarah to pull it.
Yeah, I talked to Sarah about this.
Here, let me take my email off there, that was just so I wouldn't forget. I talked, because I talked to Jeff. So,
I already told Sarah I was fine with it. Cause what's the idea of his personal vehicle?
so here's what Jeff had to tell me, that he said that Rick called him Sunday morning and the dump had not been plowed. Joe Braley was supposed to have done it.
That is true.
So Jeff got out of bed and went and grabbed it's the front end loader? Would that be right? I might have wrote down the wrong piece of equipment.
Got a loader in the back up.
Either way, and moved all the snow. But he did say that Wesley did have his plow truck
He
there.
did plow it.
So this kind of goes back to like putting in for a grant without talking to us first. You don't go tell somebody, go plow this and we'll pay you without,
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
and I get that it had to be done. It's great that Wesley was able to. My other question is, was he on the clock at the time? Do we,
I think
are we
it
gonna
was
run
about,
into
I don't
things there?
know.
Yeah, I don't know if we run into some.
I don't know what time he got there. I know he left
Yeah.
at normal time.
Yep. And then the third thing would be to, for me, if we're gonna pay him like as a subcontractor for doing that, rather than returning in a payment request like this, just blank, maybe like a little invoice or something, or a written, written note that, something from Wesley saying, I did this and this is what I expect to be paid,
Oh, well, he didn't expect to be paid at all, I
Oh,
would think.
perfect. That's
He's hired.
How about we just pay him in cigars?
That probably would work.
I can give him his own. But if he was on the clock, the only issue I would have that paying him $75 plus his
Right,
hourly.
yeah.
I think
And I can touch base with Rick and get more details on that before we make a
because he
decision.
left at 7:30, so I would assume he would be up there about 7:45.
Yeah, yeah,
I have no problem paying him to plow the town when
yeah.
the road crew wasn't able to.
Yeah. But again, like I said, Jeff said he hopped, he hopped in his truck and went, or his car rather, and went right down there to take care of it, and Wesley was already plowing, Jeff did move a lot of it, and again, it goes back to, not that I want my phone ringing at 7 in the morning on Sunday, but it does, so, a little heads up first. But I have to talk to him tomorrow anyway, so I can get the details on that. And that's the end of the mailbag. Public comment. Oh, I was hoping you were all as tired as I am, come on.
I'm tired.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Right, if it snows in the middle of the night, what's the expectations for roads being plowed? Is it 10 a.m., 9 a.m., whenever people feel like it? Is it in the middle of the night?
There are no expectations.
With
None.
a full road crew, they should start plowing within 3 inches of snow.
If there's,
Once they get 3 inches of snow, they should start plowing. But with one guy,
Well,
it's gonna take
still
forever.
He does still start when there's 3 inches, he just ain't getting to you anytime soon, maybe, it's.
so who's responsible for the losses or replacing the losses of the personnel? Is it you guys or is it the road agent, since he's a town employee?
All of us.
All four of you. Welcome, Jim. Okay, thanks.
Anyone else?
Sorry, 1 second. Bus routes will always take first precedent.
Say that again.
The bus routes will always be first.
Yep.
So if you live on a road that doesn't have a bus route, don't expect to be plowed anytime soon.
We got a bus on our road.
Yeah, you do. So,
Yeah, you do, but they tend to come really late, I hear.
Oh my
Oh,
God,
yeah.
they're awful.
It's ridiculous.
chickens first.
Go ahead, David.
I wasn't trying to be too argumentative, and just what's the southern concern about people signing in?
Just so we know who you are
Yeah, but
and get your names right.
it hasn't been done.
It's supposed to be done every.
So you may have noticed this lovely young lady sitting next to me is not who normally sits on the end of the
Yeah.
table, so that was why we made the request.
How does it affect the minutes and everything?
Yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and be grilled by you, Jake.
Alright.
Just so-
Are you a registered voter
Yes,
in this town?
yes.
I didn't see your name on the supervisor's checklist.
Well, I would be concerned if that's the case. Alright, does that do that? And then the second question, is Sharon Clark being sued by the town?
We went over this last meeting. We are not suing Sharon Clark. It is pointless to sue someone that's deceased. What are we going to get out of it?
Then that's my question, why is she being sued?
She's not. The property owner is getting sued.
She's on the lawsuit.
She's not actually being sued. It's a
Then why-
civil case.
Why is she on the
Because
lawsuit?
it was her little house.
Where
She
do
was
I
getting
get a
dropped off.
subscription to the Grafton? What was it you said you were the press representing in the courtroom?
Grafton Times?
Grafton Times. Where do I get a subscription to that?
To what?
To the Grafton Times. You represented yourself as the press. I want to know where I can get a subscription
I
to
never
your
made any
media.
claims that there was an active newsletter.
Excuse me?
I never made any claims that there was an active newsletter.
You said you represented the Grafton Times. You were
That is
there as the
correct.
press. I want to know where the Grafton Times resides that I can read it or get a subscription.
I never said that there was an actual, I am registered with the court, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
David?
So, with the last few days, there was a fire on Sergeant Hill, and I wanted to make sure that it was well noted that once that tone had dropped, the town road agent was actually right there clearing Sergeant Hill to make it so we could get all the equipment on scene very quickly. And it wasn't just dealing with a little bit, like there was a lot of equipment that was there on scene. So I know the road agent has been getting a lot of flack lately, but when push comes to shove and there's a big emergency, I think they need due recognition that they've been there for the town.
Thank you, and by the way, I noticed that that was put on the ambulance's Facebook page, and I took a screenshot and emailed it to Jeff, so he knew that people were, somebody was appreciative of him, so thank you for that. Yes?
Just one quick comment on the highway department staffing. I haven't actually thought much about this, but has there ever been any thought about someone doing a cost analysis to see when it becomes cost effective for the town to hire a contractor to do the work in the interim when someone can't
We've done that once,
hire the right people?
the year that Pop Center and the plowing for us. And the roads were 1 car wide.
Well, I mean, is there any possibility that that could be done? I mean, for one storm, if we get belted with half the snow?
There's no real company that has plows on. Remical has plows, but they plow the state, Orange, Canaan. So Rich Remical's not gonna plow for us. Jimmy doesn't have plows on his trucks. Zanny doesn't have plows on his trucks.
And I wouldn't be surprised that all those guys are as strapped to find people to work for them as we are to find people to work for us. We did get 2 applications this week. Hopefully we'll get interviews in before the end of the week. I think only one is a CDL though.
I might have another one tomorrow.
Sweet.
I don't
And just so everyone knows, I know that someone had mentioned to my husband that everybody knows that Grafton doesn't pay crap and their benefits are lousy, so people won't apply. So just so the word's out, Leaf and I, oh, you know what, I should have announced this at the beginning, I'm so sorry. The non-public minutes that we approved was from the 14th. Leaf and I sat down with the road agent and we approved a pay scale for the highway department workers that is more in line with surrounding towns and today's economy. And once we get through the budget process, the budget committee has not yet looked at the selectmen's budget, but we did put in for, we will have, we're going from only offering a single plan for employees, for town full-time employees, to a single plus one and also a family plan, and we also added in dental. So hopefully we've got a package that we can recruit in and keep employees for something as essential, especially as the highway department. So, any other public comment? Go ahead, Paul.
I'm cringing before I even say it, but on the subject of Sharon Clark, who is not my friend, I'm concerned that the town is still targeting the remnants. I realize that she's deceased, but is it my understanding, is it accurate that the property owner where she moved that trailer to for a very short period of time is now being targeted because that trailer went there? I drove by there earlier, the trailer is gone, and I gotta tell you, I drove by dozens of other properties that look worse than that property. And I have direct connection to that property. I remember when it changed hands, and it was a hot mess. There were dozens of cars on that property. So if the accusation is that that property is a junkyard, it was a junkyard when we sold it. I couldn't get Tom McGinty to go near it with a 10-foot pole to pull the cars off of it for free. So where's the fire? Let it go.
Here, here.
There's just, it's not worth the hatred.
There's no hatred involved. I don't like the word targeted, although things did occur. It became a problem when she filed the building notification at Chandville, but she wasn't the property owner, and it just snowballed from there.
Let it melt.
So-
Just let it melt.
So the court has already ordered that the tiny house be removed,
Gone.
and it's
I
gone.
just
So
was
that's
by there today.
fantastic. That's fantastic. And everything else is still pending, and
It's
we're
not.
not even, we don't even have a judges, we don't even have anything from the judge yet saying what's gonna happen. And the last thing that he said was that the town would be potentially allowed to further investigate what appears to be a buried trailer, the old trailer that had been in the manufactured house. We have pictures that it appears that it got buried. And with the snow on the ground, it's not gonna happen till spring anyway. So, I appreciate your position.
It was a nightmare. When I first serviced that property, you literally had to shimmy through sideways because there were so many cars.
Don't get me wrong, there are many very bad properties in town, as bad or worse, but they don't all come to our light. We're not running around looking for them. We're not jotting them down as we drive around. If a complaint comes in though, we have to act on it. And if the health officer says, yes, there is something there, then we have to.
Before the town proceeds into legal ramifications, is an offer made to the prospective complaint, how they might come into compliance. This is the complaint, this is what we know is wrong with your property, these are some prospective options that might bring you back into compliance so that we could leave the lawyers and the burning of money out
I'm
of it.
fairly certain that the letter that Mr. Ryer received regarding the junkyard ordinance violation, I'm fairly certain it did include that information, how to come
I
into
believe
compliance.
he got that letter twice,
Interesting.
because the first time we went to Dean Hill,
Right, and then we found out,
to his brother,
yeah, then we got an address in California for him.
then we get the updated address, so we sent it again. They're not there.
So the biggest part of the problem is you think they bulldozed the
Stuff.
mold.
From the pictures I saw, that would be, I haven't walked on the property there, from the pictures I saw, that is what it looks like.
Even if they did, it'd still be better than it was the first time I saw it. God's honest truth. And I have pictures of all of it, Cindy.
Sure, I'm sure, yeah, all right. Go ahead, Ryan.
Since this is such an issue, public record is, lawsuit's a public record.
Right.
enough. I read the lawsuit. Sharon was being sued.
She
Has
was-
that been amended, that she is not
Right,
being sued
right, yes,
now?
her name was dropped from that, yes,
Okay.
yes, absolutely.
The second thing, I read the junkyard ordinance.
Me too.
There's a procedure for noticing the notice of violation. It was not followed by the town. That is, in my humble opinion, fairly ridiculous, that there was a lawsuit brought when the town didn't follow its own darn law. There's a
How do
procedure.
you feel it was not followed?
If you read the junkyard ordinance, there has to be a notice of violation in the public agenda for the public meetings before an actual notice is given out.
I'd have to
That
check
was
into that, I
not
feel like we
done.
did comply, yeah, I'd
I
have to check in.
I went through and looked at all the public agendas. I've been coming to these for 8 months. I looked back at all the public agendas, there was nothing about a notice of violation for the junkyard. So the town is wasting our money, my very terse opinion, because they're not even, the town is not even following its own laws.
Thank
Its
you.
own.
Thank you. Anyone have anything else on any other topics?
If the town voted against making the position of the police chief appointed, what's the reason to try again?
Why would you ever give up on something that you really want, and just because you didn't succeed the first time?
It seems.
Final comments from selectmen?
I need my head examined.